Today's the day I get to share the boat with you. Now, if you're here because you're interested in buying a Nauticstar 2200 XS Offshore or the 2302 Legacy, I'm going to timestamp the specifics of the boat down below so that you can skip this story. The story is going to be the journey from my boating experience to where we are now, because I think that's very important in the decision-making process of getting this specific boat. So if you want to just see the specs, jump forward. All right, let's get into the story. My boating journey started in 2010. My dad passed away at 49 with cancer, and at 21 years old, I inherited a 17-foot dual console Key West skiff with a 140 on the back. That boat would run 56 miles an hour on a glass day across the Albemarle Sound, so fast that it would speed wobble on me and scare me. I have slowed down in my years since then, but that was my experience of learning how to use a boat. He was very meticulous with everything he had. He was borderline OCD, and honestly, he wouldn't let me touch it. So I learned on that boat. The boat was great for the Sound, inshore river systems, but anything over a foot chop, it'd beat you to death. Perfect for where I grew up, Columbia, North Carolina, Albemarle Sound region. So I sold the boat because it started giving me a lot of issues with the power tilt and trim. It's like I had to put it in the shop every 3 to 4 months. The boat was a 94 model, the motor was a 2000. So it was very old when I inherited it, and it served its purpose. Sold the boat, a couple years goes by, I'm teaching, I decide that I want to start doing a little bit of commercial fishing on the side. So I had been hunting with my friend Mac, who had a Winchester, which is the same hull as the River Ox that you guys have seen me on the last 2 years. We have been in some nasty stuff in his Winchester, so I knew that it would take 3-foot waves safely and get us in and out, because of the duck hunting experiences. So I decided that I was going to do that and get some crab pots and commercial fish. So I found the River Ox for $600. It was an estate sale. The guy had passed away. It had been sitting for 10, 20, 15, 20, I don't know. It had trees growing in it, grass growing in the bottom of it. The stern was rotted out, but I paid $600 for it and took that home. Replaced the stern, put a seat in it, a new trailer, and here we are. There's a few hiccups along the way, but here we are today with the same boat. I've had 2 motors since then. The Yamaha, knock on wood, is doing great. That's going to be my inshore boat. What I learned in the transition from the Key West to the River Ox is that I can't power my way through waves. The Key West was a lot heavier boat, and it felt safer because of the fact that it was more solid. It had the double floor system, which I loved for any water runoff that comes on the deck. The River Ox doesn't have any of that. So any water that I take on is a serious concern. Also, I learned that being in the River Ox, especially around the Wilmington area, I'm the little guy. So I have to treat everyone with caution. I have to treat them like they are the danger, which most cases the other boaters are the danger, because they don't realize how big of a wake they throw off or how fast they go by you matters. They don't realize that, when they run up on you and cut outside of you, it can really mess you up with a hand tiller. They just don't realize it, being the larger boat. So I've had to learn to really be the cautious driver around the Wilmington area. And that's a big reason why I consider just jumping up, skipping the 17 to 20 foot range, because I've had a 17 foot, and just going to something that is capable of handling those situations. Now, for a long time, I considered the Privateer, Parker, Maycraft, Seahawk, that style hull, which they range anywhere from 16, 17 degrees dead rise in the stern to 21 for the deep V models. The problem is, everyone that has those style boats, they want the price of gold for them, and they've almost become like a novelty. You don't get a lot of storage. The seating is somewhat of a concern. Not that that really matters to me, because I want room to fish, but they have a lot less storage than what you would get for the luxury model boat line. So I've been searching, honestly, for, I would love to have a Privateer Parker. Parker's my dream boat. but you can't find one for under 70, 80 grand with a deep V model. So at this point in my life, I'm like, that ain't happening anytime soon. But I look at boats all the time because that's just what I love. I love learning about boats. I love researching boats, even boats that I'm never going to get. I just like, I'm interested in it. So I have been searching. I'm looking for like an older hull, something that I can maybe put a little bit of money into and get it ready for getting out to 30 miles. That's my goal, is to be able to get out 30 miles. And I see this 23-foot Maycraft in the mountains, and the boat looks great. It needs a new motor, and but overall the hull is in great shape. So I reach out to the girl. I'm like, hey, you want 10 grand for it? I already can tell that this model is going to have some floor issues. Are there any soft spots? I'll offer you 6,000 sight unseen from Wilmington, because I know I'm going to have to put a new floor in it, and that's going to cost me 6 grand. She says, yes, there are soft spots. Figured that. But we just listed it. We don't want to sell it for what we consider such a loss, because we just listed it and we're getting a lot of action. I said, okay, well, let me do some research. I need to find out what it's going to cost to redo the floor, put a new motor on it, get it ready to roll, new trailer, yada yada. And I knew that it was going to cost some money, but I just didn't know what to expect. So I call around. I call a boat shop in Chocowinity. They've done the work on my River Ox in years past. They gave me a quote of 20 grand just to basically rehaul the boat. And I'm like, okay, 20 grand in the boat. I need a new motor. 20 grand in the motor. We're looking almost 50 grand right there. I can't do that. So that's out. And then I'm like, all right, well, let me call a local guy here and see what he has to say. So I called Stroudcraft. Honestly, if you want a new boat and you want the same style hull, go to Stroudcraft, because he's basically taken the privateer models and redone the design to include only composite materials. You don't have to worry about any rot anymore. So I called Stroudcraft. I'm like, hey man, you know, what would you charge just to do the floor? And he says, honestly, probably going to be about 6-7 grand for the floor. I think I can probably redo the boat for roughly 15, and which was a great price compared to the other guys. And I'm like, so still 15 grand to redo the boat, 20 grand for a motor. I'm in 35,000. She wants 10,000 for 45 grand for the boat. It would be a new boat, but that's not including the trailer. So I'm like, just redoing a boat right now doesn't make sense. And he's like, what are you looking for? And I said, well, I just want something I can get out 15 to 30 miles with safely. And he was like, well, I can build you a boat. Right now I'm offering a 20-foot with a 115. I can probably get you out the door for around 40. My wheels are spinning at this point. I'm like, 40,000 for a brand new boat sounds pretty good. The only caveat was it was a 20-footer. I've had my mind made up that if I'm going to make the jump, I want to go ahead and make the jump. And I said, well, what kind of financing do you offer? Because, you know, you're the builder. I know you have to work with somebody. He says, well, I can set you up with Azure funding on Wrightsville Beach. They do a really good job. I said, I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna run options, and I'll get back with you and let you know. 2 days goes by. I'm sitting at Slice of Life. It's dead. I'm scrolling my phone, and I see this Nauticstar on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm shocked at the price. So I'm looking at the link, and I see it's been online for 40 minutes, and it's got 26 saves. I don't know if you guys follow Marketplace, but that's incredible action out the door. So I message him immediately. I'm like, hey, I'm putting in my credit application right now. I can only move as fast as the bank, but I'll follow up with you in a few hours. He says, okay, sounds good, let me know. So at that point I know, okay, I got a shot. So I jump over to Azure funding. I fill out the credit application on my phone, and I hit submit within 15 minutes. And in 4 hours, I have an approval letter for the loan. Shocked at how quick they could get me in and out of there for that. So I respond to Chris, the boat owner. I'm like, hey Chris, here's my approval letter. When can I come see the boat? Now that at this point, it's been 3-4 hours since our first message, and it's jumped up to like 35 saves. So clearly it's getting a ton of action. I'm sure he's getting blown up with messages. Well, he sees that I sent the message and he doesn't respond. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, I missed out on it. So I'm a little bummed. You know, like this seems like it'd be a good boat for me. And a couple hours goes by, he responds, hey, I've been out at dinner with my family. Let me get back to you in a little bit. And at that point, I'm relieved again. A couple hours goes by, I get a text from Chris that says, hey, can you be here at 9 a.m.? I said, yes. Can we test drive it after we check it out? He was like, well, I got 4 people coming tomorrow. You're number 1. At that point, like, my chest is beating fast because this is happening so fast within hours. I'm like stressed at this point. I said, yeah, I'll be there at 9. I'll let you know when I leave the house. I am bringing my buddy with me. He's going to help me check out the boat. I'll see you tomorrow morning. So we're set up. We're ready to go. I didn't sleep that night. I mean, 3 hours, 4 hours maybe. Could not sleep. And I'm doing all this research on the boat, making sure that it's going to be a good fit for me. I've read every discussion board online because I was up at 3 in the morning. And I've watched every video on YouTube about the boat. I basically know the boat and I know what to expect. So I'm messaging Travis at 43.2 Fishing, and it's like 7 a.m. I've got to meet him at 9. I'm like, dude, this is happening so fast. I'm just super stressed about it. Like I want to make a right decision. And I talked to Travis about a lot of stuff like that. And if you guys aren't using his products, he's just a good dude, man. He'll set you up. But little plug there for him. But he's like, man, if you're stressed, you know who to talk to. And he was referencing just sending a prayer up to God. So I was like, yeah, you're right. So often in my life, I try to do everything on my own, and I don't lean on God. And I said, you're right. I'm gonna send a prayer up right now. So I did. I said, God, I'm super stressed about this boat. I want to make the right decision. And if it is the right decision, will you send me a sign? And that was the prayer. I told Travis, I was like, all right, I sent one up. So, you know, one of those things you want to almost hear like a voice that says, you shall buy this boat. But that's not how it works. So fast forward, Jordan and I are leaving the house, and we get up to Hampstead. I got to stop and get gas. I pull into the gas station. I see this old man walking around talking to everybody at the gas station. I'm like, what is this guy doing? I know he's going to come talk to me, try to sell me something. So I get out, start pumping gas. I'm like turning my back to him, trying to just do my thing. He walks over, and I'm nice to him. I say, hey man, how you doing? He's like, I'm doing great. Have you ever thought about using Bible verses for relieving stress? And he hands me a pamphlet. And at that point, I just start laughing because I prayed to God for a sign. And I've been pumping gas for 20 years, and I have never been approached by anyone at a gas station to talk to me about spiritual things. So I'm laughing, and he looks at me funny because he doesn't know why I'm laughing. I'm like, can I tell you a funny story? And he's like, yeah, sure. I said, I'm actually on the way to buy a boat, and I prayed to God that he would give me a sign, and you're my sign. And he was still a little confused by that. I said, yeah, I told God I was stressed about the boat, and I basically prayed that he would give me some stress relief. So it's really funny that you came up and offered that to me. So I want to thank you. And that kind of made his day. I'm sure that he felt like he was a part of God's will on that. But at that point, I had no stress. I knew that this was the boat for me if it checked out. Fast forward, I show up to Chris's house. Chris, he's just like my dad. They would be really good friends because they're both meticulous about their stuff, and they both are very cautious about taking care of their things so that they have the longevity, exactly like my dad. So I see the boat when I'm pulling up. I'm like, oh my God, that thing is beautiful. I walk up to the boat. It looks brand new. Like at this point, I'm sold. I just need to talk to Chris. Chris comes out, he starts showing me the boat and everything. Everything on the boat is in really good shape. There's only a couple minor things that need to be replaced, which I've already started working on. So we worked it out. I put down my deposit, and this was a couple weeks ago now, and here we are. I finally have the boat at the house. Let's get outside and let's check out the boat. All right, y'all, it's time for the big reveal. And here we have the 2200 Nauticstar XS offshore model. And the main selling point was the 42-degree entry point, which is going to cut waves like butter, and the fairly sharp exit point, which is going to be a 19-degree dead rise in the stern. Now, for those that don't really know a whole lot about dead rise on boats, it's really what makes the boat either ride good or ride rough. For example, Carolina skiffs are pretty close to 0, whereas you go in like a dedicated offshore boat, it's going to be minimum of 25 degrees dead rise. So this is a good hybrid style. And here we have the 175 Suzuki with 325 hours. It's in really good shape. And we have electronic trim tabs, which also are going to be deployed to keep the bow down and help cut those waves. So we're going to start in the front of the boat. It came with cushions, but I don't have those in there. I probably won't have them in here because I want to have quick access to the insulated fish boxes. There's 2, and they are the same on both sides. Very nice feature. Carrying, you know, 4 or 5 bags of ice offshore, throw them in there and not worry about them. Then you have your anchor lock up here. That's pretty self-explanatory. And then this is the view looking back at the boat from the inside. These seats actually pull off. So if you wanted to bring your lady and she wanted to lay out, she can lean back on that seat rest there and have the whole front deck to herself. Now, another nice feature on these boats is down here in the floor, you have access to the hull, but also it's designed to stick a 5-gallon bucket in here so that you can leave your cast net in the boat. I'll be taking advantage of that. And then we have the seat here, which folds up, and that can be an optional live well, second live well, or cooler. The former owner has it set up as the cooler. I'm probably going to leave it the same just because it's nice having that drain without worrying about it. Let's jump back a little bit. One cool feature about these boats is that you can actually go down in the hull. And for example, I can get in here and work on all of the electronics, and I'm completely out of the weather, which is also good for the electronics. And this can double as like storage, or a I can stick a little bathroom in here and it can be a porta potty. I'm too big to be in there, so you ain't gonna catch me in there. I'm gonna use it as storage. The console is massive, which I do really like. It has a lot of storage inside, which I just showed you, and has a lot of space for running another screen setup, which is what I ultimately want to do. My plan is to drop this one down to here and then run like a 12-inch right here. So that's the plan long term, but you've got all your switches and gauges, you've got all of your trim tab buttons, you've got your radio. Up here we have the CB and more storage, which is nice because it's also going to be protected. And then let's talk about the leaning post situation. So Jordan got this boat, I'd say what, about 6 months to a year ago, and it's a 197 Sportfisher Pioneer, and honestly it changed my life because it rides and fishes so well. One thing I don't like about Jordan's boat is that he has the live well built into his leaning post, and it takes up a lot of the space in the back of the boat, whereas this one doesn't have that. So if you guys notice, I've got like 4 feet by 6 feet of walk around space back here that 2 people could comfortably fish and have plenty of room to walk around. That is a major seller for me. You've got your rocket launchers on your leaning post, and then you've got what, 6 up top here, so plenty of rod storage. You've got your rod holders on the side, rod storage down below on both sides, so there's plenty of room for rods and reels. Major seller for me is that the live well is in the back corner of the boat, out of the way, and also this seat right here folds up and will go back down so that you can fish. So for example, you've got 2 or 3 people with you, stick them here in the back, the boat's going to ride a lot better, but you can fold it down to fish when you're ready. So you've got your raw wash down, your battery boxes down below right here. You've got access to your bilge right here, and then you've got your live well back there. But this boat's pretty much set up to fish. One cool thing about the offshore model is that I've got access to the fuel tank right here, and this boat actually has a 94-gallon fuel tank, so plenty of of opportunity there if you fill this bad boy up. That's the gist of the boat. You guys see me, I'm 6 foot 210, and this boat's massive. It's a lot bigger than anything I've ever been on, and I'm just so excited because this thing's going to be safe for me and comfortable. I've never had that. I'm humbled by this experience. I can't thank Chris enough. He's the seller. We've been in contact every day. He's going to be on the fishing channel with me because he's just such a cool dude that I want to get him out there with me. Just because it's my boat now doesn't mean he's not going to go out on it. But I'm really excited about the future of what I'm going to be able to do in this boat. It's a great all-around hull, and I'm going to catch some fish in this thing. So thank you guys for watching. If this boat is a boat you're considering, consider the Legacy. The 2302 Legacy is basically the redesign of this boat, and that's the same hull. So if you have any questions about either model, drop them down in the comments below. I'll answer them the best I can. And if you guys have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, like this video, comment on it, share it. Just help me get some eyes on it, because this is a boat that everyone should consider if they're looking for a boat to transition into that offshore style fishing. Thank you guys. See you soon.